males in 0 to 4 in the United States.
3.8.
And then we talked about the Battle Bull Run. Who shot first? Who started the war? Who started the Civil War?
12 young men and women from some of the poorest, toughest neighborhoods in Los Angeles, where only half the high school students graduate, are getting a rare chance to beat the odds.
We're in the 14 to 14. We're taking
10 days in the wilderness, amid some of California's most spectacular and rugged ground, might just bring out the best in them. Or will it?
14,494. They're going to go into one of the most beautiful areas in the country, if not in the world. So they're going to get to see things that they've never seen before.
A week before departure, and Chuck Thomas, executive director of Outward Bound Adventures, is meeting with a handful of students and their parents. OBA is a Pasadena-based nonprofit that has been introducing LA's inner-city kids to the wilderness for more than 4 decades.
The thing that I've discovered is that it presents common ground. It sort of strips you down to your basic components, and then we give them the tools to rebuild themselves.
Okay, you're going to need another pair of heavyweight socks.
Sunday morning in Pasadena, a dozen teens troop into OBA headquarters. They were selected from 2 charter campuses run by the Los Angeles Conservation Corps.
And it's not the kind I normally do.
Anxiety runs high as the students are searched for contraband, none is found, and then outfitted with everything they'll need for the next 10 days.
Did it come with this?
Jovan Lara has been beaten with a hammer and stabbed by members of a gang who just 2 days ago threatened to kill him the moment he stepped foot off campus.
They pulled up, and then they seen me again. They didn't even ask any questions. They just put out a hammer and hit me in the head with it. I had 7 staples in my head. I think about this sometimes. Like I graduated from high school, and I'm running home to my mom with my high school diploma in my hand. But then I just get hit by a car, and I don't know if I die because I haven't gone that far, but I just get hit by a car.
A junior, Denise Mejia, has bounced between schools using drugs to help with the transitions.
I went from weed to stress to chronic. From chronic, I went to Primo. And once I hit Primo, that was like, I told myself, what are you doing with yourself?
Leslie Vega is 2 years behind in school. She too has struggled with drug abuse and low self-esteem. Her arms are covered with the scars of self-inflicted cuts and burns.
Well, these scars, they just mean all my frustration, basically. And when you're frustrated and you just feel so lonely and you find no way out of solution, like you don't find a solution for your problems, even if it's like the smallest problem, but it's hurting you deep down, this is what you go to. Some go to drugs, and some go to drugs and cutting themselves too, or burning themselves. And I went to this and drugging myself too.
And there's Chris Barona. 3 weeks earlier, he served as a pallbearer at his best friend's funeral, the victim of a drive-by shooting.
I came out here to look for my answer. He was a close friend of mine, and I miss him. And just a couple of weeks ago, they buried him, and that was hard for me, you know. I consider myself a man, and that was the only time people have seen me cry at his funeral.
Okay, can one brave soul here name everybody here? Can one brave soul?
When Thomas steps into the room, he takes it over. He's a man in motion. He coaches and prods. These kids have to start thinking like a team.
I know that these kids will emerge on their 9th day being different. You know, they came here with expectations that we knew very little about, but they'll leave here being much better for having experienced this.
Thomas will be center of attention, the one to keep the kids in line for the couple of days spent in base camp. Then he'll hand them over to 3 OBA guides who will take them into the wilderness. This trip is being led by the husband and wife team of Stefan and Jeannie Kahina, who are tasked with being survival guides, counselors, and disciplinarians to a dozen students who don't like being told what to do.
Remember, waist belt first, then you do all your other straps after it's already sitting on your hips.
Their OBA status as leaders in training will be upgraded to leaders if all goes well. They've led other groups into the backcountry, and they know there are some things you can predict. Injuries, arguments, and emotional outbursts among them. But they've just met these kids, and they don't know their personal histories. Much will be left to chance.
Supposed to carry one time, okay? You. Somebody is supposed to carry a bear canister or a tent. So, someone is not carrying a bear canister. This needs to be in someone's pack.
Emilio Casillas is the senior counselor on the trip. A self-proclaimed Chicano activist, he's an OBA rookie. He occupies a murky middle ground, hoping to be the students' buddy and their boss.
I want to be the liaison between the authority figure and me relating messages to them in their language. I'm not saying Stefan and Jeannie can't, you know. I give them the confidence to speak to me. At the same time, I have to be firm.
200 miles north of Los Angeles, high above the city of Lone Pine, the trek starts in earnest. 3 miles into the Golden Trout Wilderness is their destination for the night, a base camp at 10,360 feet above sea level. In the Sierras, the twilight hour quickly turns to darkness.
In this tent will be Christian, German, Jonathan, Marvin, and Stefan.
You know, because the first few nights it's hard to sleep anyway. So just deal with
The long day ends. Far from the inner city glare, the Milky Way unfolds above them.
There's nothing out here that's going to hurt you.
I'm ready for it.
I don't like
These
this.
3 days is just to
It's gonna be cold.
relax.
No,
Relax 3 days.
imagine this barely second day and I already want to go home. I can imagine the rest of the
Try
week.
to have
I'm about to die
fun.
of
That's all.
fear,
It's all
dog.
about having fun.
Hey, but imagine LA, fool. It's better
That's
than like
better or being in LA?
Nah, I
dodging all
prefer-
those bullets, you know?
There's ways of writing which are about storytelling, which is more
At base camp, there's no time to relax. It's one big outdoor classroom.
where you can sit here and observe. If you're writing stories in a journal for you is just a record of events, ideas, things. So I'm presenting to each of you a journal so that you have a means in which to process or to express what you see, hear, think, and feel from being out here in these 9 days, okay?
Accessibility, balance, compactability. Right. Get that stuff out of those packs. Come on, you guys are moving slow. Orders?
John Muir Wilderness Area, that's the border for
line
it.
of elevation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dark line here, and then you've got the lines, each are 40 feet in between the next dark line.
There's 2 things you need to remember. Pack it in, pack it out.
This is also a time to adjust to the altitude. Denise and others are plagued by dizziness, headaches, and nausea. They hardly enjoy the scenery.
Misery, oh misery. Misery, oh misery. This camping life is killing me. This camping life is killing me.
Later, huddled against the night chill around a blazing fire, more learning. Chuck and Ken Preston, another OBA veteran, teach the kids an old trail song with the promise that it'll come in handy when slogging through the mountains.
Your trip has just begun.
Just begun.
You can forget about having fun.
You forget about having fun.
I said your trip has just begun.
Later, the staff gathers to discuss any concerns and to give advice.
And I want to make sure that mealtime is a community time, and that you guys, if at all possible, you guys are sitting and having your meals with the kids.
Stefan mentions that there are some conflicts brewing. None of them realize it involves the well-intentioned Emilio. It turns out, by barking out orders sprinkled with profanity, he has become the target of the kids' frustration.
I think Emilio's role out here is to like help us out, not criticize us, and he's not doing it, you know.
Big badass. Who has a problem with him?
Everybody.
Everybody. Just everybody. All right, everybody gather up. Gather up.
Chris calls a meeting, their solidarity defined by resentment.
If he says something, don't say yes or no.
Because he likes to play around, but when you play around with him, so just ignore him.
So everybody just ignore him. That's not gonna be our.
So seriously, we gotta stay together.
Yeah. So if that guy is rude to you guys,
It's
just
cool,
fucking
just-
ignore him. You know, we don't need his bullshit, homies. We're a family
We're the
together.
first ones right here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. This. All right. Cool. Everybody.
Amen.
Amen to that. Let's go.
And I was like, all right, in my head, I'm gonna throw some meetings, secret meetings where we could all just let our feelings out, and we won't be as frustrated as we are. And these people want to make our life a miserable hell.
Bye, you guys. Be good.
Chuck, I'll see you at the YAG meeting.
All right.
All right?
Good.
After 3 days, Chuck sends the group off on their 7-day backcountry adventure.
Common misconception that when you work with high-risk kids or adjudicated youth or kids that are in a lot of trouble, that they're going to be the same when you get them out in the outdoors. There are two things that you have to remember, that these kids have had a lack of access and a lack of opportunity when it comes to doing the kinds of things that we do, especially putting them in a leadership role. So when you give them that responsibility, 99% of the time the kids rise to the level that you want them to come into. But it really is about the connection between the staff and the kid and providing them access and opportunity.
The 4 miles to Long Lake are challenging. When the energy flags, it's Chris who leads the group in song. The call and response blues they learned in camp takes on a decidedly Latino flavor.
At this point, we need to tone it down, way down. Because even though it doesn't look like it, there are other campers here. This is the common place where people stop to camp and sleep.
At the base of a rocky slope, next to an icy and blue bowl of snowmelt, the trekkers attempt to pitch camp.
Marvin, hold it. For real, don't smash it, dog.
It goes pretty much as one would expect from a bunch of city kids.
I'm getting pissed. Everybody has their fucking tent up but us.
Cállate, güey. Drink some fucking water.
Denise, a girl for whom impressions come fast and strong, has been filling page after page in her journal with verses.
As I sit here in the green grass, all that's on my head is that I want to forget about my past. As I look around me, I see different faces, all come together from all different places. The wonderful beauty of this place. I don't need no camera or a journal or a videotape to remind me of this beautiful place, because those things I could lose or misplace, but the wonderful things my eyes saw are things no one can ever erase, and are things in my mind will forever remain. The reason I left to come here, I'm gonna tell you, is because of the fact that I needed to think. Because I think there's more beyond LA. There's more beyond being sad and seeing the same routine and seeing the same faces every day, seeing the street lights, the helicopters. So I decided to come to this trip. But then at the same time, since you're not used to this, you get lonely, and all the pain from LA comes back.
Hopefully my wishes come true. I made like so many wishes. It was like so cool. How many? You saw like 5 shooting stars.
I tell you, it won't be cold, huh?
No, and it wasn't cold. I thought that it was gonna be cold, but no, it wasn't cold at all.
The next day breaks crisp and clear, but breakfast is a disaster. The couscous with raisins is hard to swallow.
But what happened to the rest of the oatmeal?
What happened to the rest of the oatmeal? Well, I hid. Well, I didn't really hide, but I just dug a hole in my foot and got like 25% out of it and dug it up and then put a rock on top of it.
That flies in the face of OBA's basic tenet, leave no trace in the wilderness. If they had been caught, the leaders would have had them pack it out. New Army Pass, the most dreaded stretch of trail on the trip. It's a 1,200-foot zigzag of seemingly endless switchbacks. There is no singing on the trail today. With a string of alpine lakes sparkling far below, the teens are battling altitude, dizziness, and fatigue. Monica Powell, who has never carried a 50-pound backpack, stops every 50 yards or so. Jeannie is looking for signs of dehydration and shock.
200. Every 200, okay?
That's cool, Monica.
So you count with me, all right? Or you count. You tell me when you hit 200. And we stop.
I'll help you count, Monica.
Okay?
Control your breathing, Monica. Think of something. Don't think about this hike.
Get a rhythm, get a rhythm, get a rhythm.
The pass's 12,300-foot high summit is a defining moment for many of these trekkers.
When I saw that mountain, I said, hell no, I'm never gonna get to that top.
You rock, girl.
Oh God, that was a mission.
Yeah?
I can't believe I did that. When I got to that top, I realized, you know what? The only thing that could have stopped me from getting up there was myself.
Get your packs on. We have to take a group picture. Group hug if we all want that. We're gonna push over this top, okay? Everybody do a really happy picture. Woohoo! Yeah!
Any real celebration is cut short by an approaching storm front, and this summit is the last place you want to be. Just a week earlier, 2 Boy Scout leaders were struck and killed by lightning not far from here.
Yeah, the final place you want to get to is here. Today, the question is, do we stay here around this lake?
Hey, let's do it, cause I don't want to. I don't want to watch no.
Is there less mosquitoes over there?
There might
not
be.
as many.
I want to go up that hill.
It's gonna
Even my
seem like
Sully
about
wants
a
to go up that hill.
Not only guys make the decision here, girls gotta talk too.
And who's voting? No, it's either we camp here or we go up another mile.
Let's just go, man. Man, the faster we go there, Saturday we don't have to.
I want to get the
Who
hill
wants to go
over
up the
with.
hill? Zigzags or we could walk straight.
On the surface, this seems to be a unified group, but Stefan and Jeannie have a nagging sense that the frustrations brewing run deep.
What we're going to be following is the path of least resistance. So, you guys ready to really leave civilization behind?
Hey, you are?
Not really, no. Too late, though. You voted already. I won't let you take it back now.
At the base of a 400-foot mountain pass, the truckers are challenged once more.
I can't. It's only a temporary state of mind.
On top, the group shares a few moments of glory, but only a few. Chris calls a meeting.
I heard you had a couple things to talk about.
Oh, well, we should rebel, fool.
You want to rebel? Why do you want to rebel?
Emilio, fool.
Emilio has become this little community's scapegoat.
That's what I'm talking about.
Boy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like you can't walk.
No, I could walk.
Okay, sit down.
Minutes later, Denise sprains her ankle. Jeannie applies first aid while the group rests. The list of injuries also include swollen knees, sore backs, and infected ingrown toenails that bang against the insides of their boots. They limp into a small boulder-strewn patch of ground next to Rock Creek. Along with civilization, they're beginning to leave civility behind.
You know, I'm getting tired of saying this. I'm not going to give you this speech anymore. Instead, I'm just going to start to take away privileges.
The youths all but ignored Stefan's commands to erect tents and break out the cooking utensils. So it's a bit awkward when Jeannie awards them medallions for successfully climbing New Army Pass.
Congratulations. Exceptional.
Thank you.
They're engraved with a simple, elegant message: create peace.
Congratulations. Good job.
It's been 6 days since they left everything familiar behind. The students have grown in confidence and ability, but there come reminders that the trekkers are still young. German Laguna, who rarely talks and is somewhat of a loner, has lost a piece of equipment. He was going to leave without it if Stefan hadn't found out first.
The problem is, if I hadn't and Jeannie hadn't figured it out, we would have got up from here and left, and you wouldn't have had it, and you wouldn't have checked. We need you to keep track of the stuff that you are carrying.
By 10 a.m., the skies are threatening, and plans to go high above the timberline into Mitre Basin are scrapped.
As soon as we head upstream here, another couple hundred yards, we leave all cover. That said, we want to get out of here and back down to Lower Soldier Lake before any real weather happens.
That means retracing the nearly vertical pass they had scaled the previous afternoon. For Leslie, down is harder than up.
We've been going up some mountains that are very high, and to me that's really scary because I'm scared of heights. But they say I'm doing pretty good for someone that's scared of heights. With all the help of everybody, because everybody here has been so supportive. This I never expected, for everybody to be so close I really didn't, that never crossed my mind.
During their dinner of pinto beans and just add water cheesecake, it begins to rain, and then hail.
Raining in your tent.
You do it. Here, I'll hold your head.
I will be with it. I'll go in.
Predictably, it triggers a mad dash by novice campers to get their gear out of the rain.
Hey, whose sleeping mat is out here? It's getting wet.
After dinner, Denise takes a walk along the shoreline. Denise is skipping out on her chores, and she shouldn't be on that ankle.
Denise down there? Yeah, we need her.
With thunder bouncing off the granite peaks surrounding Soldier Lake, it's a public scolding that doesn't go unnoticed.
We don't have all night. Did you hear that thunder? You think that's, playtime? No.
After the confrontation, the clouds seem lower, the wind colder. The group mills around with hushed voices and measured steps. Emilio breaks the silence.
Whose red dishes are those?
Those are mine.
Can you please move them?
Yes, I will.
He's an easy target at the next meeting of the secret government.
Some people we don't want to mention. Big bad ass. Big bad ass, whatever he wants to call himself. But in order, how they're always telling us, don't cuss. How are we not supposed to cuss on him? Everybody else around us is cussing. Yeah.
People get what they deserve. And it's not that I'm a bad person, but it's just, if I get respect, if they want respect from me, I gotta get respect from them. And that's the way we all think.
The next day, a short hike is aborted after German sprains his ankle. There's nothing to do, and the trekkers' frustrations are boiling over. The group has decided to shun Emilio altogether after a series of perceived slights and jokes that fell flat. The stormy weather matches the mood in camp.
Like around the 5th day, everybody was frustrated. We were all just like, oh, this guy's making our lives a fucking hell,
He likes to play around with us, but if we say a joke, I guess he's not able to take it. It's like he wants to set the rules, but you can't say your rules because he ain't gonna take that. And I think that's wrong, because if you want respect, you should give respect. If you want to play, you should be able to take a joke, right?
Like sometimes he'll talk to him very rough, and I'll be like, nah, that's not right, That's when I got it, and I was like, you shouldn't be talking like that to him. And that's what made me feel like, oh, I can't let him treat him like that.
Before it gets completely out of control, Stefan and Jeannie call a meeting of their own.
If your meetings are a time to conspire like little children against somebody, like you want to play mom off against dad or something like that, that's not cool.
I'll give you an example of something that I considered very childish. I was very focused on this ankle and what to do with German, but I could still hear you. And you said, look, Emilio's looking, we should all turn around. What happened to make you guys get to that point?
Emilio has tried not to take things personally, but his patience is wearing thin.
Then you call me a hypocrite and a double standard person.
When did I call you a
You
hypocrite?
said I was double standard. I don't know, you guys got it all wrong and all twisted. And I go, if you're gonna come at me with your smart ass remarks when I'm trying to talk to you.
Okay, but before that, you were laughing, I was laughing too, and I said no. I said it in a humorous tone. I didn't
No,
say
you did
it
not.
like
I don't agree with that.
I said
No one is backing down. Anything could happen. The pointed words between Emilio and Chris signal a complete lack of respect.
See, I don't appreciate the tone of voice you're using.
All right, that's the kind of tone of words you use with us. Yeah. So.
It's the usually silent Leslie who provides the turning point. Looking straight at Chris, she says the adult leaders are good people who have earned her absolute trust. Others echo that. Chris is shocked.
When you're climbing up hills, climbing down, simply like fearing that you might fall, fearing anything, they're like, I have your back, I'm right here. And they make you feel that it's okay.
I thought everybody else in the group thought like me, and like not everybody had the same feelings towards them, And then later on, we had a secret meeting again. And that's when I apologized to the group, because I know I made the whole group look bad.
An adversarial slog through backcountry is transforming into a bittersweet journey of self-discovery.
I went and I told Emilio, like a man,
it takes a man to apologize to another man. I told him, you know what? I fucked up and I realized it and I apologize for that.
With the infighting ended for now, the weather becomes the biggest concern. Ahead, a big push across 6 miles of granite and sand, meadows and forest to Chicken Springs Lake.
Yeah, we're on motorcycle.
A steady rain and almost constant thunder hounds them all day. Everyone is pushed to the limit, their exhaustion obvious.
My leg is fucking killing me.
High above their destination, a vista point, wilderness stretches out in every direction. But these city kids aren't impressed.
We're used to living in LA. So even though this place is so beautiful and so amazing, you miss your place, you miss your home.
It's unrealistic to expect changes to occur after just 10 days. But some of the kids do show signs of personal transformation.
Yeah, I learned a lot of stuff up here. You know, I learned that working together is what keeps us together. It's what makes us keep going, pushing each other. Makes us be together, and we could get further than by yourself.
I'm a simple girl. I'm not hard to understand. What you see is what you get. I love to write, I love music, and I'm gonna make it in life. And what I learned today is gonna help me with that, and it's gonna give me the strength to keep going.
It's just great being up here, like seeing like so many, like it's just things that you only see like in TV, and like walking through the mountains and stuff like that. I was thinking like, damn, I've always said me, my mom, my dad, everybody that I know, like in my family, they'll be like, I want to go to Hawaii to see the most beautiful places. I want to go to I don't know where, and I'm like, why think of going so far when we have it here and we're not taking advantage of it?
These kids will teach their kids, and their kids will teach their kids, and that's what we're all about. We want to remember one of the tenets of OBA is to serve those who historically have been absent in outdoor recreation and doing the kinds of things that OBA does.
My hair, all right?
They just spent their last night in the backcountry. Stefan offers advice on how to transition back into the hustle of city life.
You know, will this trip change your life right away? Probably not in any big way. But I know what happened to me when I first started backpacking is like I would be on the trip, and sometimes it seemed like every mile of the trip I'd be going, this is stupid. I'm never backpacking again. Why would I do this, you know? Why? Why would I ever subject myself to this? And then something weird would happen by the time the next summer came around, and like backpacking trips would come up, and I'd be like, I want to go on that.
When I get home, I got to go to school the next day, so I got to make up 10 days work. So I'm going to be real busy for a couple of days.
Do you still have to worry about those people who were...
I don't worry about them. I don't worry about them. If they want to come look for me, they'll come look for me, but I have nothing to worry about.
But that's what you're going home to, though.
Yes, that's what I'm going home to.
That trouble might still be there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll still be there.
Camp's that way.
The last leg of the trip is an easy 3 miles, mostly downhill to the Horseshoe Meadows campground and the vans that will take them home.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Fantastic. Yeah. Kids of Monica, let me see.
All the way, nice.
I think we need wilderness because it's...
At the group's last night together in the mountains, Jeannie presides over a special awards ceremony.
Christian Barahona, and his award is the Most Outstanding Motivator Award. Congratulations. Denise Mejia, her award, the Most Outstanding Talker Award. Congratulations.
Jovan, we gave you the Individual Thinker Award, and we think that's a very important award. Jovan is also somebody with one of the biggest hearts I've ever met.
Leslie, who diffused the trip's tensest moment, is singled out for the most improved and best attitude.
I saw so much change in you, and so much strength, and so much intelligence and such leadership and such grace and sensitivity. And I thank you for making my 10-day adventure that much more meaningful. Thank you.
I know for sure that when I'm home, if I do go back home, and if I'm depressed or feeling lonely, I know now that when I lay down in my bed and I close my eyes, I know that I'm gonna have this in my mind, and I'm not just gonna have that black spot with the little stars like right there when I close my eyes. I'm gonna remember this place. Por mujeres como tú, amo. Hay amores como yo. O hay hombres.
Over the next 2 months, 2 of the 12 were expelled from school on drug-related charges. 1 failed to show up for final exams, and 1 was suspended for disruptive behavior. Chuck Thomas was neither surprised nor discouraged.
Change is inevitable, but it's not immediate. So they will change, and that experience will impact them. They'll have that memory for the rest of their lives. But it's a testament why we continue to work with the kids year after year after year. Those kids that have been expelled from school, we'll track them down, we'll get them back out again. But it's part of the process. It's part of the process of letting them know that we care, that they're valuable. And we do care, and they are valuable. And someday they're going to vote and show it that way, you know. So it's, I went through it, and I think that it's probably some of the most important work that we can do today, working with inner city kids.
OBA has worked with more than 19,000 inner-city youths over the years, and there is a long roster of them who went on to become park rangers, biologists, and firefighters. This is Louis Sahagan, Los Angeles Times.